Hey, I'm Ton Vin, and this is Seattle Eats, a food podcast from the Seattle Times and KUOW. Seattleites who love Chinese food have been flocking to Richmond, BC for years. They want dim sum, they want pulled noodles, they want it all. But you don't have to go that far to get delicious Chinese food. Bellevue, Washington has a growing Chinese population, and it's very apparent in the food scene. Actually, I think the Bellevue scene is on pace to be the next Richmond. Maybe the closest thing we have to Richmond on the U.S. side of the border. And the proof is in the soy milk pudding. I'll explain why, share some dishes defining the Bellevue Chinese food scene, and give some restaurant recommendations worth crossing the 524. Ready? Let's go! Hey, Seattle Eaters! I'm in the studio with Brandy Fullwood. She's a producer at KUOW. And hey, she even helps make Seattle Eats. But today, I'm putting her on the hot seat. Welcome to the show, Brandy.
Thanks for having me.
So word on the street has it you're, quote, a foodie.
Yeah, a foodie, non-derogatory. You know, I like to eat. I think I make a good meal, and I love trying new things.
Okay, that's going to come in handy later. But tell me what kind of Chinese food you like to eat.
I definitely don't discriminate, so I love hand-pulled noodles. I love a cumin lamb, and I really love Sichuan fish.
Oh, wow. So you do like the Cantonese and Sichuan, none of that Kung Pao chicken, Chinese American lies?
I like that too. I'm not even going to lie.
Oh, good. You opened a wide range of Chinese food, which is good because that's what we have here in Bellevue now. So, Brandy, when I tell you I drove to Bellevue and had some of the best Chinese meals, you're curious, right?
Yes. I mean, I'm curious about the great Chinese food, but I'm not that curious about going all the way to Bellevue just to eat it. We're on the Ave right now in Seattle, and there's lots of great Chinese food. But I did see you call Bellevue a powerhouse for Chinese food. Yeah. So I'm curious about that. Why do you think it's the next in the food scene?
Oh, Brandy, let me see if I can make my case and get you to cross the bridge.
I love that we're doing like a Manosphere podcast episode. Sell me this pen. Sell me Bellevue.
For one, I keep track of restaurant openings for the Seattle Times, and like clockwork, every time I do a list of East Side openings, there will always be 2 to 5 Chinese restaurants open in downtown or the North End or near the Amazon complex. It's very noticeable, and it's happened so many times where this is not a coincidence. I believe it's a trend. When you look at the demographics, it makes sense. I mean, for instance, Richmond, BC is considered a major player in the Chinese food scene in North America because of its huge Chinese population. And Bellevue is headed in that same direction.
I've heard this lore, you know, Richmond, a lot of people go there for good dim sum. They go for the night market, which apparently isn't that great. But what's going on in Bellevue?
Well, if there's anything I learned in journalism, Brandy, is if you want to get the heart of this story, follow the money. Asians have a lot of economic clout in the city of Bellevue. I mean, in the city of Bellevue, 46% of the population are of Asian descent. And when you look at tourism, number 1 on the list are tourists from mainland China. Number 2, tourists from Canada, which we know have a huge Chinese population in Richmond and Vancouver. And rounding out number 5 are Taiwanese tourists. So that's why they have a lot of economic power in Bellevue. And the other thing is, it's a workforce. We have a large tech workers. Many are Chinese, but also there are 14,000 Amazon workers in Bellevue. That translates to a lot of takeouts from the Chinese restaurant perspective.
Yeah, so similar to Richmond, it sounds like there's a lot of demand and investment in the restaurant culture and this strong, consistent customer base that doesn't really cook.
Yeah, that's a good way of wrapping it up.
Why do you think I would cross the bridge to get Chinese food in Bellevue when I could make it at home or just get it in Seattle?
Because, Brandy, there's a lot of Chinese dishes in Bellevue that you can't get elsewhere.
Okay.
And I should back up here because historically, in the United States, the Chinese food that we have here are mostly Cantonese food or a Chinese American version. And in the last 10 years, there's been an explosion of Shaoshan cuisine, like think mapo tofu.
Heard of it. So what sets the food scene apart in Bellevue? What makes it so special?
It's more diverse. Point on a map to nearly any region in China, and chances are good you can now eat some of its cuisine somewhere in Bellevue.
Yeah, point on the map. Tell me some of those regions.
If I want hand-pulled noodles from the northeast region of Lanzhou, I can go to a place called Nuodle in Bellevue Marketplace. If I want Shandong cuisine, I can try Mr. Huang Claypot Braised chicken. If I want Jiangnan cuisine, I can try Master Bing. It's a street food place. And I can go on and on.
It sounds like that's moving us past those main three types of cuisines that we're used to and really spreading across the country. Are there any standout dishes to you then?
2 dishes in Bellevue tell the story of how diverse the food scene is in the city. Number 1 is the braised goose meat served at Dongbei Harvest. Dongbei Harvest specializes in northeast China cuisine. It's near the Korean border. And the fact that braised goose meat is front and center and gets prime real estate on the menu tells you how sophisticated and how diverse our Chinese population is. You don't see this in another town with a huge Chinese population.
No, I've never seen it. What is it like?
It has that dark meat, succulent, fatty bite. It's not as gamey, as lean as I would expect. The way that Dongbei Harvest serves it, it's with steamed bread, it's with short ribs to fortify, give it some fattiness, and quail eggs. So it's a cornucopia of flavor, but the main ingredient is goose meat.
Sounds good.
Right? And so to me, the goose meat at Dongbei Harvest is one example of how the Bellevue clientele is different. And the second dish is tomato and eggs.
I know that dish.
Yes.
It's very warm, a lot of great textures. It's simple, it's good. And it's the first dish a lot of young Chinese people learn to make at home. Honestly, it's tomato season, so why not make it today?
There you go. A lot of Asian culture, and pretty much, I would say most of the Asian culture have some version of this dish, but it's mostly associated with the Chinese culture. This dish used to appear on all the menus around the late 70s and 80s. The good thing is it's a very practical dish. The bad thing is it is a very practical dish, so anyone can make it, so why put it on the menu? So it just disappeared from the menu, except when there's a large Chinese population. So the fact that you see this on a lot of Bellevue menus, it tells you a lot about the Asian culture and the Chinese culture here. One is we have a huge first generation of Chinese people who live in Bellevue because they love this dish. And I would say the Little Garden is in Bellevue Marketplace does a better version than most home cooks.
Okay, because I was going to ask if it's so common, what about it is so special?
Their secret ingredient is pretty much a soup-based mix. It's a Chinese version of Lipton's onion soup mix. A lot of salt, a lot of MSG, and that gives it a lot of oomph.
So where else can we find these signals that the restaurant's serving a community? Are there any places waving a green flag for you?
3 places stand out for me. One is a place called Shaoshan Impressions. It's Hunan cuisine. Hunan cuisine tends to be spicy and salty. They're not heavy-handed on the salt by accident. It's very intentional. And any conversation about best Chinese restaurant will always include this Hunan restaurant.
Actually, I'm curious about this because I have been to Changsha, which is in the Hunan province. So what's on their menu?
They have braised pork belly with like fiery peppers, and it's salty with fermented black beans. They have a great fried potato dish that's really salty and adrenalized with a lot of peppers. They have good stinky tofu is what the dish is called. They have the Hunan version of stinky tofu.
I have tried stinky tofu. It was one of those dishes that when we were in Changsha, a lot of people just watched us eat it to see if we liked it because it's such a staple and so familiar.
Exactly. So number 1 on my list is the Hunan restaurant, the Shaoshan Impression. Number 2 is any town should have a good Sichuan restaurant if you are considered a major player. And Bellevue has plenty of Sichuan restaurant, more than any other type of cuisine. In the city, Brandy, there's 2 camps. There's the people who love the smoked tea duck at Frying Fish, and others are fans of Dan Gui smoked tea duck.
And which one are you?
I am Dan Gui all the way.
Okay.
Ride and die, baby. They serve easily the best smoked tea duck, as good as any that you will find in Richmond. It is a leaner cut than what Frying Fish served, but it is very succulent. It's very thick and dense, like a brisket, and it's salty, and it's just a very gratifying chew is how I would put it. I'm dying to know how they make it because it's so much better than anyone else. I asked the owner, and the owner was mums. He said that's the secret. But it's unmistakable what they smoke it with. It's definitely jasmine tea and jasmine flower. It's a very distinct floral note.
That sounds beautiful and like the most delicious rivalry I've ever heard of.
There you go. Team Frying Fish or Dan Guri? Dan Guri all the way, baby.
That's me pulling my knife out of my sheath.
There you go. Can I give you a third restaurant, please?
Absolutely.
The third place I would mention that would make it in Richmond, if it was in Richmond, is a place called Looking for Chai. It's one of the most popular Taiwanese cafe in Western Washington. It's actually a destination restaurant. You get copious amounts of food, most of the dishes under $20. The Taiwanese community love the gamey wok-fried lamb with water spinach. They love the pork intestines, the pig ears. Deep-fried prawns with salty eggs is one of my favorites there. But the best dish at this restaurant, it's shreds of crab in a thick yellow sauce with like custardy, soft tofu, and snappy shrimp. One of my favorite seafood dish in all of Western Washington. Some people like it with rice, others just eat it by itself, but it's best washed down with a freshly brewed green tea. So you can get to many places in one city. You don't have to drive back and forth on the bridge. So what say you? Are you sold on this? Will you cross the bridge?
I don't think that I've gotten over my fear of the 520 bridge at all, but I am convinced to go over to Bellevue. Maybe I'll figure out a carpool and we'll do a little bang at a couple of restaurants. Maybe we'll just go together.
Yes.
And you drive.
There you go. We're going to have some dim sum or maybe mapo tofu.
Why not both?
Maybe, yes. Why not both? Brandy, thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for having me.
That's it for today. We have a list of all the restaurants we talked about in the description of this episode. Thanks for listening to Seattle Eats. The show is a production of the Seattle Times and KUOW, part of the NPR network. You can support Seattle Eats by investing in the local newsroom and the specialized beats that make this sort of storytelling possible. Please consider joining and subscribing at KUOW.org/eats and SeattleTimes.com. Seattle Eats is produced by Brandy Fullwood and Claire McRain and edited by Jim Gates and Trevor Lensmeyer. I'm Tom Ben. See you next week.